So I guess that means we're on. Okay. Welcome to the Town Council special meeting tonight. We're going to call this meeting to order at 5:33 and ask Pam for a roll call, please.
Certainly. Gary Tenenbaum.
Here.
Ernie Grauer. Here. Katie Schwer. Autumn Schindler. Here. Jen Riffle. Mark Kittle. Jackie Whitsitt.
Here. Thanks, Pam.
You're welcome.
We are here tonight to talk with interim manager candidate Davis Ferrer, which I've gotten wrong for 30 years and will continue to get wrong.
Correct the world.
I have known Davis for about 30, 25 years, and I understand that Davis knows some other people on council, so he's not new to the area. He lives in Carbondale. And so we've all received Davis's resume and have had a chance to look at that. And so I think rather than waste any time, I'm going to just open this meeting up for council people to ask Davis any questions they may have. Not to take you by surprise or anything. Yes, sir.
On there. So, Davis, I do know you, but if you could just provide a little bit of your background and how it would fit as an interim town manager with Basalt.
Okay. I'd be happy to do that. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Let's see. I moved to the Valley in 1979. I worked for Garfield County for 2.5 years during the oil shale boom and bust. After that, I went to Carbondale as a planner, and I was there about 3 months, and they decided they would remove a number of employees, and when the dust settled, they had appointed me as acting town manager and planner. And that transitioned, as some of you may know, we actually shared Mark Chain with Basalt and
right.
John Palmer with Basalt back in the days when you couldn't afford to do that on your own. I was in Carbondale for 13 years and left there in 95. Took part of a year off to get my sanity back. It never came back all the way, but and then I started my own consulting business, and so I've been a contract planner for a number of communities in the Valley and have done consulting work for a number of entities in the Valley over the years, but twice I've been the interim manager and planner in Silt. I've been a part-time manager on a full-time, permanent basis for the town of DeBeck. I was also their planner. I've been interim planning director in Rifle. I'm presently, in addition to this job, I am 2 days a week the town administrator for the town of Colburn. Same thing as a town manager, but a different name. So I do that 2 days a week, and I would be proposing to continue that job here, so I could give you 3 days a week and your 2 meetings a month, a special meeting if that was necessary, but that would pretty much fill my schedule up. I'm pretty familiar with going into an organization and trying to get my feet on the ground as quickly as possible, and kind of keeping I said barge earlier, but keeping the ship going in a straight line, getting the projects, maintaining the momentum with the projects that you have. And one of my priorities would be to help you get a new manager on board as soon as possible. And I understand that you have a headhunting firm out there already in process. I don't know if you've actually released the request for applications yet or not, but I would hope that happens pretty quick.
Yeah, really.
So I think I'm a quick study. In addition to my governmental positions as a consultant, I worked on Crown Mountain, their PUD for the rec center. So and just through osmosis in the Valley, I know Basalt. I drive through Basalt when I go skiing all the time. This will impact my ski schedule, but I can live with that. So I don't know all the details of Basalt, but I am pretty familiar with the community. I know the culture of the Valley. I know the culture of the town. And the details and the nuances I will be hopefully a quick study on. 3 or 4 months, if that's what the time frame is, will go by in a blink of an eye. It may not seem like it in the first couple days, but someday I'm gonna be in the same position as Ron, and hopefully you have somebody else here, if you decide I'm the person who can step in and pretty much hit the pavement running. Be
Thanks,
happy
Davis.
to offer more detail if you want, but that probably bored you to tears.
Ernie?
What's your financial background and your financial philosophy in running town?
Financial background. My financial background I learned through the town of Carbondale. I've done numerous municipal budgets. I'm not a trained financial expert. I'm not a CPA. I rely on people that have those qualifications for that. But I do understand how budgets work. I know how to track budgets. I believe that each department, when the budget is approved, that they're responsible for their budgets, and I will typically look at budget to actual each month, and I expect every department head to do the same thing, and if something's out of whack, I want to have a conversation about why that is.
Because, you probably know, but we went through a certain amount of pain to reach a balanced budget this year for the first time in several years. And for me, certainly that would be a concern to make sure that we stay within our balanced budget.
That is my charge, if I'm the person. When I started in Carbondale, they were functionally bankrupt. When I left Carbondale, they had $3 million in reserves. That doesn't sound like much these days, but when I left there in '95, that was a boatload. So every place I've worked, I've maintained a balanced budget. And I do that in Colburn as well. We actually have $1.2 million in reserves, so. I'm a fiscal conservative, if that helps, you know, and I track it.
So Davis, I understand from the very beginning that you were only going to be here 3 days, and Ron was only here 4 days for the most part, but sometimes that was different depending on weather and if there was the need for him to be here. How, so we're spoiled. We
Okay.
felt like Ron was here all the time. He played this role, this interim role, as if he would be here forever,
Okay.
which was great because we continued to move forward in big ways. How will you handle the other 2 days that you're not here, as far as keeping things moving forward and making sure everything's okay?
A good manager relies on good staff, and I think Basalt probably has a pretty darn good staff. I would expect that the same way I do in Colburn, I have department heads there that when I'm not there, they know what their tasks are and their charges. If something comes up that's an issue, they call me. I'm willing to talk to them. The only limitation I would suggest is that, you know, when I'm in Colburn, my time is devoted to them in the same way my time, if I'm here, will be devoted to you. So I just simply ask for that courtesy. If it's a crisis, that's fine, call me. I've had a few crises in Colburn. We had a large landslide that you may have heard about. We've had, we've had bad guys come in and shoot people, not in town, but outside of town. We've had a number of incidents like that that I've had to be in communication with them or even go down there for that. So my days for Basalt, if there's something that comes up in the evening within, you know, reasonable time frames, happy to talk to anybody. I have a cell phone, I have a landline, I live in Missouri Heights. It's 20 minutes for me to be here.
So you come home every night?
I come home. Well, in Colburn, I go down early in the morning, work, spend the night in the motel, get up early, work, head back.
Okay,
It's 100 miles each way, so I don't do that each day.
right, okay. Others?
I'd like to better understand what we think the gap is between now and having a new town manager. Is there any ballpark sense?
I talked to Phil, and I don't know if others did, but Phil thought it was gonna be 4 months,
From now?
maybe a little more.
June 1st.
Yeah, that was what he told me.
Okay. So in
That's
that
about June 1 then, right, roughly, June 1?
In that context, Davis, how would you see your role here? You're here 2 days a week, 2 days a week?
3 days a week, right.
What do you see your role in terms of getting stuff done, moving Basalt forward, or being, you know, stopgap? How do you see that?
Well, time's a limit, and you have to be realistic about that. Again, you know, Ron gave me a list of projects that you're dealing with. I would be working with department heads, checking in with them. I understand that you typically do department head meetings on a Monday morning. I would do that. You know, ask department heads to tell me what they're gonna be working on, and if there are problems and issues, and turn them loose. I don't micromanage my departments. That doesn't help much. To the extent there are meetings that are important with some of the folks on this list of projects, I would meet with people, again, trying to be judicious with my time. But in terms of if you said we want to rewrite the land use code and redo the comprehensive plan between now and June, I would probably tell you that that would be great if we hired somebody to do it, but although I have done those, you know, just being realistic, that's how I'd handle it. I mean, truly, in 4 months, it's gonna go by very quickly, and I would hope that what you have on your plate right now continues to move forward in a productive way, that the budget is tracked, that, you know, the staff is happy, and that you're getting business done. And if somebody needs to meet with me, to have a conversation about things, that's fine too. You know, I kind of keep an open door policy. If there are times when I need to get something done and I have to close my door, I'll do that, but that's usually a rare occasion.
Rare occasion that you get something done?
That too. Just kidding. That I close my door and block people out. You know, members of the public, I'm happy to meet with them and have conversations with them, but to the extent that they kind of suck your time away, I can't afford that, you can't afford that. So it's a balancing act, and it's a matter of being diplomatic with people and saying if there's something significant, you need to meet with the town manager about that, happy to do that.
Because we know that if the town manager's not available, who they will call. You get anything, Katie?
I guess my only question would be, and you kind of addressed it, but Ron has given you a list. I'm pretty familiar with what that list would be. Do you feel confident that you can keep us on a positive track? Or is there anything there that you feel like you can't help us achieve that needs to be addressed?
Most of the things on this list I'm familiar with either through the newspaper or through personal experience or experience in other places. So I didn't see anything in there that bowled me over, no. There's some of the art stuff, I'm not totally familiar with that here in Basalt. Your monthly newsletter, I'm happy to contribute to that, but that can be a big task, but I understand somebody else is kind of shepherding that project. Marijuana dispensaries, I've become a marijuana expert in my time in Parachute and DeBeck, so I've written land use code on that. I don't deal with the licensing end of it, but I'm, you know, familiar with that. Let's see. Forest Service, revegetation plan and trucks. Yeah, I didn't see anything on this list that looked like it was over my head. All of those at once would be daunting, but yeah, I think I can keep that moving forward, and again, working with the staff to do that, I feel confident. 4 months from now, ask me that same question.
Right. Any other questions?
Okay. In terms of my schedule, I have 2 small projects. One is in Meeker, one is on Highway 82, one I'll be dealing with Garfield County on administratively, and the other one is a minor subdivision in Meeker, which will involve a planning commission meeting, probably one, and a county commissioner meeting. Those aren't scheduled yet, the application's been submitted, so that would be in an evening. and I would just need enough time to leave and drive up there, whether it's from Colburn or here, go to a hearing, and come back. And then the other thing I have is I actually have a trip to Sedona scheduled on, that would impact Basalt. The week of the 6th, I would plan on being, I actually was crazy enough to put my schedule together, assuming this worked, all the way to June. So I'd be in Basalt on the 6th, and Colburn on Tuesday and Wednesday, and so it would be Thursday and Friday, you wouldn't see me in Basalt.
But tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow, if you say yes, I will be here at 8 a.m. ready to roll.
Okay. And I guess I may as well ask the obvious, and that is, do you have a standard hourly, or how would you charge?
I've thought about this. I would bill this at $80 an hour and on an hourly rate. And I would probably keep it that way. That way, everybody's honest. If you need more time, it would cost a little bit more. But again, trying to keep that to 3 days a week and your 2 meetings or maybe 3 meetings. I really can't do much more than that. So if that's not satisfactory, you need to tell me that.
Tom?
So Davis, just to be clear now, the 3 days, would it be the same 3 days every week? Would there be, how would the predictability
Okay.
be built into that?
I would give you a schedule and I would stick to that, but
It would vary sometimes?
it would vary, yeah. It would probably be, Colburn has their trustee meetings on the first Tuesday of each month. So if you, on the weeks of your council meetings, which is the second and fourth Tuesday, I would propose those weeks to be here on, looks like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days in a row, and then I do Colburn Thursday, Friday. There would be some variation, some on the weeks when the Tuesday, Wednesday is when I'm in Colburn, I would be here on a Monday and a Thursday and a Friday. But you would have 3 days during the week. And frankly, that actually, I think, may be good because, you know, there would be some variation in my schedule, and it wouldn't be the same 3 days. So later in the week, if there's something I need to deal with, I can deal with it.
So could you tell, in order for staff and council to know when you will be here, could say, I mean, we're at the end of January, so could you say now, here's a schedule for the month
Absolutely.
of February?
That's what
Do it at
I
the
actually
beginning of
scheduled
every-
myself all the way into June with Basalt in mind, just because I need to do that. And it's a wonderful thing when you have a phone that interfaces with Outlook on your computer, so you only do it once.
And
So I would provide you a schedule of when I would be in Basalt.
And you would be an independent contractor to the town?
I would be an independent contractor,
So no benefits or,
no benefits.
what about expenses? Do you,
If there were, you know, I wouldn't, I'm
you don't
close
need
enough.
room and board or anything?
I don't need room and board, I don't need mileage, it's just, you know, my rate. I have my own insurance. The only thing I would ask is that, and I've had this conversation with other attorneys, you use CIRSA, correct?
No, we're
Oh, you don't?
independent of CIRSA.
Okay. If in the performance of my duties in a responsible manner, I was involved in a lawsuit with the town of Basalt, I would ask that Basalt would assist or somehow provide some help in that. You know, I have my own general liability and professional liability insurance, but, you know, those things can go south, as long as I'm not operating in a reckless and wanton manner.
Well, that's, Transamerica covers contract employees, provided you're acting within the scope of your duties and it's not willful and wanton conduct.
That's the only thing I would ask beyond that. The rest of it,
That's in place.
okay, that's great.
So are we good on that, Tom
Pardon?
and Judy? Are we good on that insurance piece?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I know because of me, if I'm sued, but it's not, as long as I'm not alleged to have been grossly negligent or
Right.
acting outside the scope of my duties, Transamerica will cover
Okay,
my defense, and so it would be the same for you.
right. I have my own health insurance, under the affordable, no, it's not under the affordable. which is gonna go away or whatever, but, yeah, so I'm pretty much, I come in and I can plug and unplug. And I think that's what helps a lot of the small communities I work for. When I do planning work, it's actually, if it's private projects, it's reimbursable to the town, so it essentially costs them nothing to have me.
Okay.
For the council, one more thing,
Sure.
if there are specific, if you decide to go ahead, we're talking now about what the basic parameters of a contract would be, obviously. So, only other thing I can think of as a major consideration would be if you have special projects you wanna have Davis do or focus on, and I would bring those up now so that we could put them in the agreement if you want it there, and also to make sure that he's okay with anything special you would want him to do. I guess helping with the permanent manager search would be something a little.
I would be interested, and I've been involved myself in that, on the receiving end, and I've been involved with helping folks hire somebody.
Yeah, I think we should probably run that by Phil, because he's got a pretty
Yes,
big
he's-
contract.
Yeah, we got
him to do
the
it.
pros on that.
Right, and, I don't want to step on anybody's toes as far as that goes. Happy to work with you and them or whatever.
Would you be willing to give us a guaranteed number of hours a week? It could be a minimum, but I would like some
Yeah,
guarantee that you
I
would.
could do that, with the caveat that if I'm sick
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
something comes up that's a
Yeah, we
problem,
might-
but,
Yeah, you could appeal to our better natures, but,
yeah, I think we could work up a minimum number of
but
hours.
some
per
commitment
week.
of a minimum number
You
of
bet.
hours.
You bet.
Yeah,
And so that's it. The total compensation package is simple, $75 an hour, and discussion. And we would like to get that monthly on a very prompt basis.
He did say
At 80, Bernie.
80, oh, I'm thinking
I
of the
think
last
Bernie
guy.
just
Wait, I said,
countered. I think he just
Bernie, are you
countered.
negotiating? I think he's taking over the
he
negotiating.
didn't challenge me,
We have a Jedi Knight on council.
Respectfully waiting for you to stop talking.
Right. Yeah, I did say $80 an hour.
Apparently you're firm on that number.
So if it's an hourly, then we do have to kind of consistent with what
And that's
Bernie's
fine, and
saying.
if you want to put a cap on that, that's fine too.
No, but just to make sure there's a minimum that
Yep.
ties into that salary so
I'm
that it's
hap-
predictable.
I'm happy to do that, and, like I said, 3 days a week in your 2 meetings, I am planning on for this time frame to commit to that. Again, if I'm sick or injured or, something like that,
We'll cover that in the,
and I could even
Details, yeah.
Skype from my hospital room if you needed me to. so.
Okay.
But I'm in good health, knock on wood, and I
good.
kind of know my schedule, with the caveats that I've mentioned. I have the 2 private projects, which are fairly small, and I can do that in, my spare time, whenever that is, weekends. And I do have, for the Meeker project, I will most likely have I definitely will have 1 planning commission meeting, 1 board of county commissioner meeting.
Okay.
and I have one more
Yes, Bernie?
comment, suggestion, is that as soon as the ink is dried on the contract, that we put it up on our town website so that it is totally public and transparent, and that can save people of calling up to ask or
Yep.
filing an open records request.
That would be fine. If you want to publish it in the paper, that's fine. I've actually had my evaluations published in the newspaper when I was in Carbondale, so, been there, done that. So happy to be transparent, open with whoever.
Okay, are you going to be available for me or one of us to give you a call because I think we are going to want to go into executive
Oh,
session
sure.
and have a chat.
Absolutely. And
but-
I can give you my cell number. Ron,
I think I might have it, but
I think you do have
Are
it.
you
I've
gonna wanna
got it.
take action tonight?
yeah,
Okay, then you could stick around, right?
I'd be
you
happy.
can stick around, but that would be great if you could stick around. I don't think we're going to be
Think it'll be a
too.
3-hour
Executive session isn't gonna last very long.
No, it's not
right?
going to be very long. It's not going to be very long. So we'll cut you loose to
Okay.
go not too far maybe, and I'm sure I have your number, but why don't you just tell me again? It's on your resume?
You sticking around?
Okay, Okay,
Okay, I can stick around, too.
Yeah, and then we'll come
Perfect.
back into, for the benefit of the
The press,
yeah,
press, the audio, visual,
Okay.
whatever, we'll come
happy to do
back
that.
in.
okay. So we'll catch you out, grab you from out
I will
there.
be out in
And-
the waiting room, and thank you very much. I look forward to the opportunity to work with you guys, and
We do have one
Thanks.
other piece of public business, but you can
Do-
go, because this is,
Is there any, do we need an executive session?
It's not, I'm not asking for it, so
I
it's
want it.
entirely up to you guys.
we want to be able to have a discussion, yeah.
okay.
Um,
Well, thank you very much, because I told Ron, it was very important for me to meet with all of you, so that you know me. If you don't know me, you can find out about me, you feel comfortable with me doing this. If not, I have plenty of other things to do, so.
Okay. It sounds like they're waiting for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Davis. Okay, we did have one other piece of business that's really not on the agenda.
Well, it could wait till after.
No, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, I
Because
wanted
otherwise-
to bring up
Yeah.
something that, I received a number of emails from a regular council critic asking many detailed questions about Ron Miller's contract, his hours of service to the town, and frankly, details that are not public information, I think to the point where it's gotten to be an annoyance in Ron performing his job. But I just want to say, any request for financial information, contract, expenses that the town has paid is open records, and we've been replying to them, and we're more than happy to reply to any of those legitimate legal requests. The implication seems to be, did the town really get its money's worth out of Ron when him working on a weekly contract in his home being in a suburb of Denver? And I can answer that in a few ways. One, yes, we have had to spend more money on Ron's hotel room because he's short time, and we couldn't get a monthly rate like we had with Mike Scanlon on his apartment. But we did pay Mike Scanlon's apartment, and moreover, we paid airfare for Mike going back and forth, and other expenses, probably over $9,000 in addition to his monthly rent. So the question, and Mike also, his home was in Kansas with his family, and he did work there, and I never had reason to question that he was giving us our full value, and the same thing with Ron. So I would say in terms of value, and I invite anybody else to weigh in, the fact that Ron has produced deliverables that we have been lacking in 4 months. He's balanced the budget. He has produced a capital improvement plan so that we can use it in planning our expenses with a budget, and he has produced a written procurement plan. So for my money, we have gotten way more than our money's worth out of Ron in what he's actually delivered to the future financial stability of the town. If anybody wants to say something, fine.
And having said all that, we do have a proclamation which says all the things that Bernie said and ends. Now therefore, this 31st day of January, the Basalt Town Council wishes to proclaim its sincere appreciation to Ron Miller for his many contributions to the town of Basalt as interim manager.
Thank you.
You have been
Right.
really, really good. Yay!
Thank you. I'm honored. An honor and pleasure
Small
to
but
serve the
sincere
council.
standing ovation.
Thank you. It's pretty rare to get one, but I appreciate serving the council, and it's been an honor and pleasure. I'm privileged to serve the citizens of Basalt, and thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
so
It's very nice.
there's your gold watch.
I just echo what Bernie said, and in addition to the pressed shirts that you brought every day to town, you got a lot done, and you came at a time when we were in need of help. And one of the things we discussed early on was, can we move forward while you're in a stopgap role? And you really did.
Thank
in
you.
in a very non-flashy, get-it-done way. I would send, the public should know I would send inane requests to Ron, and he would respond to them very rapidly, without judgment, so,
My
thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
All of us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a very boat rocky time when you came in, and your demeanor and presence and kindness and listening and not very much talking, I must say, really moved us forward, and we should be so lucky as to get someone like you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I now pronounce you. So, there is some question about whether we want to go into executive session. I mean, I think that there may be people who have something to say that we don't necessarily want to discuss on the camera, so it's council's call. If there's a motion to go into executive session,
I'm okay without it.
Me too.
I'm okay without it.
okay,
All right, so.
so
Oh, we're
discuss.
not going off.
Yeah, you can tell them to come in.
You can tell Dave's on back in.
Oh, do we, okay,
If
as well, it's
open-
public.
open
So, what's the discussion?
So what I'd like to ask about is, do we, and the 4-month answer may be the answer, but what do people think about whether we need another interim manager, or can we make it without one? What are people's thoughts?
I think
Katie.
we certainly need an interim manager. I mean, I feel like Ron got us through so many rocky situations and produced amazing deliverables, and our staff is overwhelmed quite often, and to add this burden for 4 to 5 months, I think is too much.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I looked at, when Mike Scanlon left, I mean, the hardest part is, all of a sudden popping it onto one of our existing staff. And then all of a sudden, they have to then run that and do what they're supposed to do. At least it takes some of that burden off of them. Then, and it's an interesting situation, because if you hire somebody else at the end, then they go back into their role. And you kind of I think it'd be better to have somebody who just comes and kind of makes things keep on going. It's a point of contact for the public, point of contact for us. I just think it's money well spent. Ron proved it was money well spent. Staff is able to get things done and not have to respond to being the town manager.
I agree with what the rest of my esteemed colleagues have said.
Esteemed now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bernie.
Never before have we been
Upgrade.
called that.
Upgrade.
Upgraded tonight.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of interim town manager Davis Farrer.
Second,
Yeah,
I would recommend that the motion include direction to me and staff to prepare a contract consistent with the discussion we've had with Davis. And if it's, unless there's some unforeseen issue, that Jackie's authorized to sign it.
okay,
Okay.
can you add that? And
I'll
the
add
seconder also?
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right. Any further discussion?
I'll just say that I've known Davis for a long time as well. I think he's a good candidate.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, Davis.
Done and done.
Welcome aboard, Davis.
See you first thing in the morning.
Yeah, maybe we can work this out quickly in the morning.
I recently moved my office.
Okay, that we're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Adjourn.
All
Favor, yes, aye.
Be here.